I am really enjoying the dramatic entrances these days. So I hope you can bear with me or you can enjoy them with me. But anyway, welcome to today's episode. I hope you're doing okay, or even better than that, you're doing great. Today, we're going to be talking about a very intense emotion, and that is of envy. We have been talking about contentment in the last few videos, right? One emotion to watch out for if we are going to be content is that of envy. And I know we have experienced envy in one way or the other as victims or perpetrators of this emotion. Excuse me, recently I was a perpetrator of envy. And at first I was very ashamed and guilty, but right now I am so thankful that I had the privilege of experiencing that emotion, and now I am where I am dealing with it. So in today's video, I will share with you that what my journey was like, and then a little bit about what envy does and what envy is, and then finally a tool that I am using to deal with this emotion. But before that, welcome here. If you're new, my name is Mary, and I just share my experiences, my tools and tips that I am learning as I navigate a growth season that I have found myself in. Now, a growth season is just a period where we're carrying weight of an unmet need that we have. Sometimes the unmet need is sometimes the weight is emotional. Other times it's relational. Other times it's spiritual, and it's just a burden that we bear because we have a need that's not met yet. So let's get started. So a few months ago, I was in a conversation that it triggered me. At first, I was just furious. I was very furious. And over time, I was just talking to my friends and just trying to understand what was going on with me. And I got to a stage where I started suspecting maybe that's what that maybe I'm dealing with jealousy and anger and envy. But then I was in total denial because I do not have a recollection of dealing with this emotion, specifically of envy, in the past. I don't have a recollection of that. And so it was really intense for me to even come to the acceptance that, yeah, I am actually dealing with envy. But thankfully, I am very thankful that I have actually come to that realization, because it's going to help me. If we are going to deal with intense emotions like those of envy, there are a few things that we must understand. First of all, emotions are nothing but messengers, and envy is an emotion just like that of happiness, sadness, gratitude, envy, peace, rest. Even it's just nothing but an emotion. And emotions, they come carrying messages from our subconscious brain telling us, hey, there's something that needs your attention. Now, if we choose not to deal with that, if we choose not to lean into what the emotion is telling us, now that's a different story altogether. But an emotion, but envy as it is, it's just an emotion, and it deserves to be treated with respect, with attention, and with gratitude for bringing this information forward. So it's not your identity. It's not who you are. It's not your personality. It's just an emotion that rises and falls. And if dealt with, it's a good thing. The second thing is that the emotion of envy almost always results from a seed that was planted in the form of comparison. Now, the comparison could have been done by authority figures, by people, by algorithms, by systems, schools and ranking systems and all. Almost always, envy is a manifestation of a seed of comparison that was planted in us. So if we look at it that way, really, you are also just a victim because you experienced comparison, and that's not a good thing to experience. From my own experience, comparison is the worst thing to experience ever. So there is not shame. There shouldn't be any shame while dealing with it, because it's just a messenger. By definition, envy is wanting what another person wants. Sometimes it could be material, sometimes immaterial, but you want what another person wants. You want to abandon your lane to go to the lane of another person, right? In contentment, we're talking about running your own race, sticking to who you are, and being the best that you can. But envy leads us to abandon who we are and want to become other people. When we comparison, which basically is data collection, you can check the video on comparison, I will link it, but comparison is just data collection. The right way to respond to comparison, one of the ways would be inspiration, right? Like one of the ways, there are many ways, but one of the ways is inspiration. We can get inspiration from a person. Now, inspiration is when we have compared, we like something in another person, but we use that information to learn how we can become the best versions of ourselves in our own lane. Envy sees the data, gets the data, you see something you like in another person, but then all of a sudden you want to become them. You want to have what they have. That's what envy is. Inspiration is not about abandoning your personality. Inspiration is about refining your character so that you can become the best personality that you can become. So I'm talking about personality because one of the things that I found wasn't the trigger, but one of the things that I found as I dug deeper into this comparison issue was that over some time, over a long time, I had been told that my personality is not a lucky personality. I have a lot of, I'm mostly introverted than extroverted. And I was told my personality just doesn't fly. You need to be like a certain person, this and that person. That kind of personality gets accepted easily, gets things done, gets people to like them. But that's not good comparison. It should be learn, become the best version, become maybe more loving, more patient, more all this, become a more refined character to become the best introvert that you could ever be. That's better inspiration than comparison. So anyway, what had happened was I had been, I think over time, I was identifying with a certain role, but gradually I was not able to identify with it anymore. And I didn't know who I was and how to deal with myself. And there were other people filling these roles. And I didn't know even how to respond to them. I didn't know how to celebrate them while they were doing this thing that I used to do so well, right? And I think a common example of this would be of parents of adults children, when their children leave and they are partnered up with other people, and the parents lose their role that they used to play, and instead of getting inspired or getting, I don't know, instead of just celebrating that, sometimes they can be, I think envy can be seen, can be experienced as a result. So this is something similar that had happened to me. It's just a position that I was losing. And then in that conversation that I had, it was just a confirmation that, yeah, that's gone forever. And I didn't know what to do. So instead of finding myself and getting inspiration, I was just hating on these people and just tearing them down in my head and in my mind, just thinking how they don't deserve to get the position that I thought I used to hold on to, right? But I am so grateful that I have come to this place, because now I can look into that with so much compassion for myself and even for the other person, as none of us deserves to go through any of that, and deal with it. Dr. Anita Phillips, who I will put her work in the description box below, describes envy as just like weeds. You know how weeds in the farm, they're competing with, first of all, nobody planted them, they just came from wherever, right? They were not intentionally planted. Secondly, they are competing for nutrients, for air, for water. They're just competing with the healthier plants that were actually intentionally planted, right? She compares envy with weeds in that way, that envy, it wasn't intentionally planted. It was not intentionally planted, but here we are, we have it. It's our responsibility how we want to deal with it. The second thing is that envy competes for our limited resources. Now, some of our limited resources are like time, attention, and energy, right? What envy does is it takes your focus off of becoming the best version of yourself in your personality, for example, or off of the race that you're running that's set for you, right? It takes the focus off of what you should be paying attention to. And now all of your energy, all of your attention, all of your time is spent on running another person's race, or is spent on trying to understand, to prove, to negotiate. And it's stealing the attention where it should be. So the question is, what is your attention being stolen from? What should you be doing? Maybe you should be repairing, you should be having stronger relationship with that person. Maybe you should be even, they should be, you should be getting inspired, maybe be mentored by the other person, but it's taking the focus off of that potentially really good thing and derailing you to something else, just wasting your time. It just drains energy. And that, I know that from experience. Comparison just breeds unnecessary competition. Now, as a result of this competition, what happens is that we become fear driven. Man, I experienced this. We become fear driven. And what we want to do is re strategize. We want to restructure. We want to change our entire plan. And now it's, this needs to get done. I need to get this done. It doesn't matter how it gets done. It doesn't matter if I end up lowering the standards that I had set out to. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be done. And now the energy that is behind our running, our race, is that of fear, is that of scarcity mentality, that it can't be two people doing great things at the same time. It's gotta be you, or it's just gonna be one way, and that's your way or no other way. So what is propelling us is a lot of fear. It's a lot of jealousy and envy. And it's just not helpful. It's just not helpful. And oftentimes we are competing with people we have no business competing with. They're usually the people that we need in our corner, that are the ones that we are competing with. It's just not useful. Yeah. So how then do you deal with it, right? You've come to this realization that that's what you're dealing with. How do you deal with it? There are a few ways to do it. One way is journaling. The essence of dealing with this is you want to get to the root of it. You want to understand the depth, the width, the height. You want to understand everything that you can understand about it, so that next time you can put guardrails around your heart so that this does not happen again, or the chances are just minimized, right? So you can journal. And I am using the Neurocycle app, which I did a review on, and you can check it out. Using the Neurocycle app to journal, Dr. Caroline Leaf guides us, who she's a neuroscientist, and she explains that it takes 63 days to change a habit. The first 21 days are spent on understanding the habit, understanding envy, for instance, right? And then the next 42 days are spent on planting the seed in the place, new seeds, new healthier seeds in the place that envy was. I've already started my Neurocycle journaling, and it's each time I finish journaling, I just end up in so much remorse. And I end up just saying and praying for these people. I was like, I just hope like all things go well for you. You know, like it's when you understand it, it's just, you see there's no point in that. That person does not deserve, the other people do not deserve that kind of negative energy, and you too do not deserve that kind of place where you are See, what envy does, envy undermines our ability to be healthy humans. It undermines our ability to be humane, and we're not able to love freely. And that's what we need to be doing. That's what we are meant to do, love each other, right? So in the end, it was just a lot of sending them all this positive energy, saying, may you be well, and all of that stuff. So anyway, first thing is journaling. I am journaling, and you can join me to journal together using the Neurocycle app. The second thing that you could be doing and probably should be doing together is pray about it. If you believe in prayer, you could pray about it. But I want to put a caveat here. We're not bringing this and just laying it in prayer, out in prayer, and then abandoning it. No, we have to use the science also. And that is, if we're going to be praying about it, you need to do it for a stretched period of time. Essentially, you want to understand this thing so that you can change it. So if your strategy is just going to be prayer alone, pray for like even 21 days. Try to understand it. It's always good to write. So you can also write it down. And then just make sure that you do the work, not spiritual bypassing. Spiritual bypassing is just when we do a spiritual practice like praying or meditation, and then we for like one time, and then we decide that's done and we don't deal with it. No, it's gotta be work that needs to be done, so that next time when this happens, we are better equipped. So those are just a few things: praying, meditation, journaling. The other thing is talking to people that you can trust. If that might be a therapist, if you have and you can afford one, it would be great to talk to them about it. Another person would just be random friends that you know and you can trust. Share with them. The Bible says that when we pray, we get forgiveness, if you believe in that, but that's what the Bible says. But when we talk to human beings, other people, we get healing. So yeah, you need to talk to people that you can trust. Make sure they're people that can be trusted. Yeah. Anyway, this is an important, and I am so thankful because this month I wanted to study contentment, and I don't think it would have been complete had this emotion not come up, that I need to deal with it. So yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I got to experience that, and now I have the chance to repair and to become a better version of myself. We all want to be surrounded by people who are able to be inspired by us, but not people who we have to hold back or feel like we are walking on eggshells around them because we can't share our joys with them, right? We want to be able to celebrate and be celebrated. So yeah, do the work. Let's all do the work. And also let's create safe spaces for people too. Like let's create safe spaces for people, because these can potentially be shameful places. And so if we shame people, then it's not going to be possible. So first of all, if somebody comes talking to you about this, you have a responsibility to create a safe space for them, or not, or tell them you can't listen, or like you can't help, so you don't, not to share with them, but just don't make it worse for them. It's already a very vulnerable thing, even to be opening up about. So let's be better stewards of one another. So if you enjoyed this episode, I ask you one thing, or maybe two things, right? So first of all, share this video with whoever you think would enjoy it. And it doesn't have to be because that person is dealing with shame. It might be just any other difficult emotion, like even anger, right? The next thing is subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that every time you are notified when there's a new upload. And other than that, I will see you next in a few days on Friday, when I will be talking about boundaries when we have gotten ourselves into a place of contentment. How do we protect our hearts when we are starting to feel comfortable in the place that we found ourselves in? All right, so I will see you on Friday. Until then, take care of yourself. Take good care of yourself. It's your responsibility. Your happiness is your own responsibility, 100% your own responsibility. So yeah, take care of yourself. All right. Ciao.